All right, so in tonight's video, I'm going to go over the stock market again, real quick. I'm starting to see a lot of people um, trying to pick a top, and believe me, I've seen this happen at virtually every, uh, any sector or commodity that completes an intermediate cycle low, especially if it's a long, difficult intermediate cycle low. The vast majority of traders and are immediately trying to jump on the short side again. They've become conditioned to expect um, lower prices, and so once we get short-term overbought, they put short positions back on, expecting the same behavior um, during the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle as what occurred during the declining, and it almost never works out that way. The environment just changes. So, in the declining phase of the intermediate cycle, price tends to get oversold and it stays oversold for long periods of time. When it does bounce and reach overbought, it doesn't stay there very long before um, rolling over, and then we start a new leg down, and you can see that's what happened during this decline. The two bounces that, no sooner did they reach overbought than the market turned and moved back down again, and then of course we get the bloodbath phase here. Every The market price gets deeply oversold, stays that way for about a week and a half, and then we get our intermediate bottom, and traders have become conditioned to expect this, and so they continue trading. They continue using the same trading strategies that worked during this phase of the intermediate cycle, and they don't work during the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle. So the market gets flipped around, and so instead of um, overbought conditions triggering pullbacks during the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle, price can stay overbought for long periods of time, and you can see that's what's happening. We had a historic uh, breadth and momentum thrust out of this bottom. This is not how bear market rallies behave. This is how new bull markets behave. In fact, there has never been a bear market that um, generated this kind of a move. So this is what I've been saying all along. The long-term secular bull market is not over. This was just a very severe regression to the mean correction. The market just got stretched too far above the 200-week moving average. Big pullback, exactly the same as what happened in 1987. We didn't have a recession at that point either. We clearly we are not even close to falling into recession here. And so this was not the market um, anticipating a recession. This was a market that just got too stretched above the long-term mean and needed to correct, and that's what it's done. And now we are in the advancing phase of um, an intermediate cycle, and I think we are starting the second phase of this long-term bull market. The first phase, of course, ran from the bottom of the bear market in February of 2009 to the top here in September and October. And then we get this very severe correction. This was a tag of the 200-week moving average. Uh, and then we get this massive momentum and breadth thrust as we come out of this bottom. Let me widen the chart just a bit. And the bears, the people that became heavily invested in you know thinking that we were going to just continue to crash, and making Imagine all kinds of fundamental reasons for why the market should be going down, but the fact is that we aren't going down anymore, and they are ignoring what is happening. So we've got a major resistance zone right here that was broken during the bloodbath phase, and it offered no resistance at all to this rally coming out of the bottom. So roughly 25.50, major resistance zone. The market didn't even blink as it sliced right through that resistance. We come to the next resistance zone at 2600. We get two very small down days, and then the market slices right through that resistance zone. Again, bears are ignoring what is happening. Our next major resistance, and actually let me condense the chart again. All right, so I've put the 50-day moving average in here, and there are multiple sectors and commodities that are now breaking above the 50-day moving average. So again, pay attention to what is happening. We pulled back from that 50-day moving average for 1 day, and then today we've broken through it. So again, a major resistance level is offering no resistance at all to this market. The next major resistance would be this intermediate downtrend line, and as I've mentioned in several of my past videos, in order to confirm this as an intermediate cycle low, this intermediate trend line must get broken, and usually price will break above this, close above it, and more often than not it will close significantly above it. So I think you can plan on this trend line being broken in the not too distant future. We're still fairly early in this daily cycle. No real need to look for a top of any significance at this point. Still way too early. Once we go through this trend line, then we've got this triple top resistance here right around 2800. That could be a potential spot for a larger degree pullback, but I'm going to say that if we get a trade deal with China, then I wouldn't even assume or bet that 2800 is going to offer much resistance to this rally. And the second stage of this long-term bull market will probably slice through that resistance fairly easily, just like it's sliced through all of these resistance levels so far. And as I've said before, I think we still have at least 10, maybe 15 years yet to go in this long-term bull market, but it is time for the leadership to change. The FANG stocks were the leaders of the first 10 years. We need different leaders for the next 10 years, and I think the leaders are going to be biotech. And here's the chart of biotech, by the way. And you can see biotech is already significantly above its 50-day moving average. The average is starting to turn up, and biotech very quickly moved back into this consolidation box here between, let's call it 75 and 85. So biotech is already showing relative strength compared to the general market. And so, this is going to be one of the leaders, the second phase of the bull market. I think we're also going to have major advances in nanotech and robotics, autonomous transportation, clean energy, just to name a few. But my guess is probably the main leading sector for the next 10 or 15 years is probably going to be biotech. I think this is where the major world-changing innovation is going to occur over the next 10 to 15 years.